Hey everyone, welcome to The Explainer. If you've been keeping an eye on the news today, you know the drops have been absolutely massive. But look, we aren't just talking about a bunch of random, isolated events here. What we're actually mapping out today is a fundamental paradigm shift in how we interact with our tech. Literally everything, from how we search the web to how we work, right down to how we secure our devices, is changing before our eyes. Let's get right into it. Okay, let's dive into this. 95%. Think about that number for a second. That is a sudden, explosive surge in US iPhone installations for a privacy-focused search engine over its baseline, and it happened in just a single week. To understand why millions of people are suddenly, and I mean suddenly, modifying their digital habits, we really have to pull back and look at the context. We need to see what the tech giants are rapidly building that has so many users sprinting for the exit. Part 1. AI becomes your coworker. So the industry is aggressively shifting the narrative right under our noses. We are moving away from viewing AI as just a simple tool that you operate to recognizing it as a full-fledged employee that operates right alongside you. Just look at this adoption rate. 5 million weekly active users are now on OpenAI's Codex. That's a 6x growth since the desktop app launched just back in February. And you know what's absolutely crucial here? These aren't just software developers anymore. The future of white-collar AI integration? Yeah, it has well and truly arrived, and it's scaling faster than almost anyone predicted. OpenAI is making this happen by dropping 6 brand new Codex plugins specifically targeting white-collar workers. We're talking data analytics, creative production, sales, product design, equity investing, and investment banking, all launching at the exact same time. But get this, with a staggering 110% growth in data analytics usage alone, Codex is pushing way beyond its developer origins. It's stepping directly into the ring to compete with the massive enterprise productivity suites of Microsoft and Google. Now, obviously, Microsoft is not just standing still. Enter Microsoft Scout, which is built on the open-source OpenClaw framework. This quote from Omar Shaheen, the corporate VP of Microsoft Scout, really says it all. He says, "Your company essentially hires your assistant." I mean, wow. That is a monumental shift in how they're talking about this, right? You aren't just opening a program anymore. You are literally employing a digital team member. Now, what's really interesting here is the stark contrast between the old model and the new. On one side, we have the older Microsoft Copilot model. It lives inside specific apps, it forgets you and starts totally fresh every single session, and it really only reacts when you prompt it. But look at Scout. It features ecosystem-wide integration, it has a persistent identity that actually learns your work style, and it operates autonomously 24/7. It can monitor events and take action without you constantly holding its hand.
Part 2. The friction, privacy, and legal battles.
So what does this friction actually look like for the everyday user? Well, it looks like this. Unprecedented iPhone install surge for the privacy-focused search engine, DuckDuckGo. Remember that 95% hook from the beginning? This happened immediately following Google's I/O 2026 announcement of AI overviews. Week 1 saw a solid 18% bump, but by week 2, overall US growth hit 61%. And on iOS, a staggering 95% spike. Privacy-conscious users are out there literally voting with their downloads. There is a very stark divide driving this migration right now. On one side, you have Google's new approach, which makes AI overviews mandatory in most searches, uses comprehensive behavioral profiling, and pushes those traditional direct links below the AI-generated answers. On the completely opposite side, DuckDuckGo offers no mandatory AI, zero user tracking, and direct links right there on the first page. It's becoming a very clear choice for folks between a mandatory AI-first model and a traditional direct link model. So the crucial question is, why are people resisting this new AI-first model so hard? Well, accuracy and interface clutter are huge factors here. You might have actually seen this viral example where Google's AI overview literally recommended users to add glue to pizza. Yeah, no way. High-profile, honestly unbelievable errors like this are seriously eroding trust. It's driving this massive search rebellion because users just want to regain agency over their information. But the friction isn't just happening with users. It's spilling over into the courts. In the legal battle between Elon Musk's xAI and X against Apple and OpenAI, U.S. District Judge Mark Pittman has just issued a very significant discovery order. The whole lawsuit centers around alleged monopolistic behavior by Apple regarding OpenAI's integration into iOS. And the judge's ruling? It compels Musk to produce his business emails from his accounts at both Tesla and SpaceX. Now, you might be wondering, why do these specific emails even matter to the court? The rationale is actually pretty straightforward and centers around potential conflicts of interest. The court is actively looking into cross-company resource sharing, historical communications from Musk's time co-founding OpenAI, any past Apple negotiations, and the exact timeline of xAI's development. It's basically a clear look into how resources and competitive intelligence might be managed when one individual controls multiple, potentially competing tech companies. Part 3, the immediate threat. We really need to shift gears here for a second because this rapid, interconnected tech expansion, it comes with some severe, immediate supply chain vulnerabilities that could literally affect the device you're using right this second. Specifically, we're talking about the TanStack attack, which is part of a campaign dubbed Mini Shai-Hulud. Yeah, a Dune reference. This was a highly sophisticated supply chain cyber attack where hackers compromised popular open-source JavaScript libraries. Because modern software leans so heavily on these third-party libraries, a single weak link in that chain allowed attackers to ultimately infect 2 OpenAI employee devices. Because of this, OpenAI was forced to rotate all of its code signing certificates. Let's walk through the timeline of the response, and you really need to pay attention to the end of this. The compromise itself happened on May 11th. OpenAI publicly disclosed the incident on May 13th. They then spent the next few weeks rotating their code signing certificates. But the absolute most critical date in this entire response timeline is June 12th. That is a hard, completely non-negotiable deadline for users. Listen up. If you're a Mac user running the ChatGPT desktop app, Codex, or Atlas, you absolutely must update immediately. After June 12th, macOS Gatekeeper is going to completely block those old certificates, which means your app simply won't launch. To update, it's super easy. Open your app, click on Settings, navigate over to About, and just select Check for Updates. Do this today, right now if you can, to make sure your software stays functional and secure. Part 4, the release. Okay, let's move on and see how this builds into something a bit more fun. After all that heavy legal friction and those urgent security warnings, I think we all need a bit of a cultural release valve. The highly anticipated sequel from Remedy Entertainment finally has a release date. Control Resonant officially arrives on September 24th, 2026. The hype surrounding a return to this critically acclaimed, completely bizarre narrative universe is just off the charts. So, the game is launching across PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PC, and, this is super rare for a day one release, Mac OS. You'll be playing as Dylan Faden, and you're teaming up with returning characters like his sister Jessie and, of course, the beloved Dr. Casper Darling to fight the reality-bending Hiss. Pre-orders are open right now at $60. It is perfectly positioned to be one of the absolute massive hits of the fall season. So what does this all mean? From AI coworkers operating autonomously 24/7 to sudden legal discoveries spanning across massive corporate empires, right down to supply chain hacks and search engine privacy rebellions, today's news makes one thing incredibly clear. The paradigm has already shifted. AI isn't just a tool we use anymore, it's the actual environment we live in. Which leaves us with one final, vital question to consider as we wrap up today's explainer. Is your digital life ready for the AI takeover? Thanks so much for learning with me today, and I'll see you in the next one.